I'm going to show a feature that is fairly recent. It's actually related to the audits feature that we've had for about 9 months now. The audit feature allows admins and operations users to assign audits to their field sales and distributors. So, I've got the audit section here. I can create a new audit. I can pick, who I'm going to assign it to. And then in this screen here, I'm showing a sales rep who was assigned an audit. We can actually look at this. He completed the audit, filled out the things that he had, shows the discrepancy. He saved it, and then if I go back now in this operations account and I can review that, I can see that the audit has been submitted, and yes, there is a discrepancy, which is great. Now you get the information that you need to understand what inventory needs to be moved either into or out of this particular user's custody, but then that winds up being a manual process. You have to do transfers away from the user or into the user to get them on par with the audit that they completed. So what we've done here is we've actually created an auto-reconciliation feature that will allow you to automatically move inventory from that user based on what they reported. So a couple of things to show. The first thing is in the settings, as an admin or ops user, you have to define a discrepant custodian. So the way that we do this is we have a discrepancy custodian that either it holds the inventory, and then from an audit, inventory is either moved into or out of that discrepant location. So essentially you create a custodian only user, and then you would select, this one has already been created. You can only select one discrepant custodian because we need to have that central repository where we can move inventory in and out of into the right user custodies based on the audits that they've done. So you assign the discrepant custodian, and then you go into the audit, and you have obviously you can add documents, leave comments, but then you have this more button, which you're familiar with in our system, and you click Auto-Reconcile. And then now you have to do this in 2 steps. It doesn't auto-reconcile everything simultaneously. You're going to decide, am I reconciling the excess inventory or am I reconciling the missing inventory? And so the excess inventory means basically the system has more inventory than the user reported. So we're going to transfer inventory from the user into the discrepant custodian. If you're reconciling missing inventory, which means the user has reported more inventory than the system shows, you're then going to transfer as much inventory as is available in that discrepant custodian that matches what that user reported into the user's custody. So this user doesn't have any missing inventory. They have excess inventory. So we're basically going to create this transfer. The radio button is selected. I'm going to click transfer. And what it's going to do is it's going to automatically create a transfer and automatically send that inventory. And you'll notice here, reconcile transfer number 3. And if I go to this transfer, you'll also notice it's automatically accepted. So we know that this user needs inventory moved out and into the discrepant location. We don't need to hold the transfer. We're just going to automatically move that inventory. And then I have a list here of the inventory that was moved. We've got 1 through 5 results. And then if I go into my inventory, and now I can do a filter on my custodian, and we'll do discrepant custody, and I'll apply it. And this is the inventory that was just moved into that discrepant custodian. So you can see how this will save a significant amount of time, because all you're doing is the users in the field are executing their audits. You're going to review that audit and make sure that you agree with what they've reported, and then you're automatically going to just transfer that inventory. Now the inventory that the user reported that they're low on physically, but you have more inventory in the system, you want to reconcile all of those first, because what that's going to do is it's going to create a pool of inventory from which you can then go back to the audits and you can reconcile any shortages. So anything that a user says, I have more of this than the system shows, when you do that reconciliation, it's going to pull matching catalog and lot numbers from this discrepant custodian. It's going to move them to the right custodian so that they can get topped up to the levels that they've reported during the audit.